Hello, my name's Jane Spiro and I'm running a webinar on creative writing in the language classroom. And the reason I think this is an important topic is that I've noticed over many years of teaching that learners really engage when there is content in the classroom rather than language which is entirely functional or entirely instrumental or entirely exam oriented, and that creative writing actually brings their whole selves into the classroom. It brings memories, it brings experiences, it brings opinion, it brings many of the kind of engaging aspects of students' lives. And it also generates outcomes which are memorable for learners and which offer a record for them of the way they were at that point in time. That's one reason why I think it's important. It's also the case that we are creative with our mother tongues all the time. When we crack a joke, we're usually playing with pun and playing with language. When we make up a nickname, we're usually being creative with language. If you look at newspaper headlines, you find that they're playing with pun and metaphor and it being inventive with language. We also know that language learners use very creative strategies in order to cope with language that is unknown. So, for example, they might invent a word to replace a word they don't know. They might reformulate sentences where they're not quite clear about a sentence pattern or structure. So learners themselves are highly creative. So given that we are creative in our mother tongues, that we are creative in our strategies, why does this not happen more in language classrooms? And I think the reasons have emerged from many conversations I've had with teachers. Some of them say, I think I need to be creative myself in order to develop creative activities in the classroom. I think it takes a special talent to be creative. Not everybody can be creative. Or they will say it doesn't blend with the goals of the language syllabus. What I want to show in the webinar is that none of those things need to be true. First of all of us are creative with language and all of us have the capacity to play with language in the way that poets and writers do. We all work with pun, we all work with metaphor, we all work with double entendre, we all experiment with the way words are structured, with prefixes and suffixes and morphemes. We all enjoy sound, music and ways of playing with sound spelling links. So we all have that capacity, and teachers, if they're given a scaffold or a framework or a way of working with that, can share that capacity with learners. So learners themselves can actually cover and develop aspects of the language syllabus through creative activities. They can look at sentence patterns and the reformulation of those. They can look at the elements that build words like prefixes and suffixes, and they can look at the way spelling and sound connect with one another in order to be creative. So in our webinar we will be exploring some of those aspects of being creative in the classroom and bringing the whole self into the classroom and therefore generating outcomes which are really memorable and which are really special for the learner. So comprising many of the elements that we believe to be effective learning and memorable learning. So I very much hope that you will join me for my webinar on March the 9th and on March the 15th, where we will be exploring these ideas further.